Oh, it feels so good to be back home. What's good, everybody? Your boys back in the friendly confines. This is the Coach and Bro Show, Mondays and Thursdays. Now, on Thursdays, we're live on the Stadium Network and everywhere the stadium is. Available in over 100 million homes twice a week. Again, live at 11 a.m. Eastern Time on Thursday. We got a ton of topics to get to today and a little announcement. So before I do, let's bring in my partner. I am the coach side of it. He is the bro side of it. Of course, from russosbrand.com, he is Vince Russo. And for the first time, the coach and bro presented by Afterburn, the movie, available in theaters September 19th. And the star of said movie, Vince, are you familiar with the two stars of this movie?
I think I'm seeing Batista in that picture on the graphic.
Boom. Batista and Samuel L. Jackson.
Wow. Very nice. Very
Now,
nice.
I tried the movie company that came to me. They said, "Hey, coach, we love what you're doing, and we want to like do a little test with this movie." And what do you think the first thing I said to them was?
Go for it.
Well, that too. But I said, if Vince can get Bubba the Love Sponge on our show, a gigantic get where we were literally quoted everywhere,
Yes.
can I get Samuel L. Jackson? And they said, "Well, coach, we'll work on it for you." So I'm at the "we will work on it" stage.
Well, coach, you also know I got confirmed another huge get. I sent you the
I
exchanges.
know,
You saw it,
I know.
coach. We're not going to say who, but you saw it. I sent you the DMs.
It's going to happen. And this one is on brand. It's on topic. It's going to happen as soon as we can possibly make it happen. But the one thing we don't do here, we don't tease something that's not going to happen.
No, not at all.
No.
Not
So
at
if
all.
we tease it, it's going to happen.
Yes,
But it's nice. Vince, I was on the road for 3.5 weeks.
Man, God bless you,
3.5
coach.
weeks.
Seriously, people, when you say that, coach, I don't think people really understand what that means. When you tell me 3.5 weeks, bro, like I want to take my own life, and I didn't even have to do it, man.
I literally, this was crazy. So what I do is when I travel this long, I'll pack for a week. And then I've got, the PFL, I got to be in a suit and tie. So I got that separate bag. But then I'll plan on doing laundry on the road.
Wow.
So you will not believe, Vince, I was in Charlotte, North Carolina, and we were at a really nice high-rise, like a Hyatt. It was a really nice upscale downtown hotel. I walked up and I said to him, I was down to like my last pair of drawers. I had no socks left, no boxers left, no nothing. And I said, "Hey, what level do you guys have your laundry on?" Because I'm used to like a Hilton. They have laundry. He's like, he looked at me like, "I cannot believe that you would think that this hotel would have its own laundry." So after I laughed at him, he goes, "But you can send it out at 8:30 in the morning. We'll have it back into your room by 6:30." I go, "Really?" In one day? He goes, "Yes." Vince, how much do you think they were charging for one pair of boxers?
Wow. I couldn't even tell you. How much?
$7.95.
Oh my gosh.
And I had like 9 pairs. So that was $70. How much do you think a shirt, like a regular t-shirt like this? $10.95.
Well, coach, can your boy smarten you up? Can your boy smarten you up, coach?
Please do. What did I do wrong?
Coach, I went away to college at Indiana State. I went away to college when I was 19 years old. After the first week there, I realized I had to wash my own drawers. Coach, at that point in time when I was 19, so how many years ago is that? 45 years ago.
Okay.
Coach, I simply stopped wearing drawers, coach.
Oh my God.
Coach, you don't wear the drawers. You free ball it, coach. There's no drawers to wash. There's no $7.95. Coach, what's the problem with a little free balling?
There's nothing, but when you're working out, it can be painful, Vince.
Well, you got to suck
have
it up,
something
coach.
holding it together.
You got to suck it up sometimes, coach.
Wow.
Yeah.
I guess so. Please don't talk about free balling and sucking it up all in the same sentence. Okay?
I'm sorry, coach. I apologize.
It's okay. It's okay. All right. So on Mondays we have a little bit more free flowing of a of a format than we do on Thursdays when we got commercials. We're on national TV, over 100 million homes. Guys, stop it. You guys need to stop. We know we're big. But on Mondays, you guys can equally be involved. How can they do that, Mr. Russo?
Coach, I think we got is Dirt Sheet Dan on here? I'm hearing somebody's TV in the background.
Hey, Dirt Sheet.
This is a professional show, gentlemen.
Dirt Sheet.
Gentlemen, trying to work here, gentlemen.
So, Vince, if you go to the bottom of your screen, that little button on the left where it says backstage, like all the way to the bottom left.
Yeah. Offstage feeds.
Right next to the little TVs, you hit it and it goes over. There you go. You're good to go now. You won't hear Dirt Sheet, who just came in, who, by the way, he's feeling himself lately. Dirt Sheet's feeling himself a little bit lately. I just got to be honest with you. Yeah. All right. Now, please continue on how the good people can be a part of the show.
Yeah, guys, we love you being a part of the show. We're not just saying that you are a big part of this show. You join in on the discussion. A lot of times you guys give us point of views that Coach and I may not have. You could do that through a super sticker or a donation. We will bring you right up on the screen. But Coach, since we get so many, the parameters needs to be over $5. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's got to be $5 or more. We're almost to the point. It's almost got to be $10. I mean, this is getting insane. You guys are amazing. But put them into the chat every few minutes. We'll hit some if they're topical. We'll hit them as we go. But you guys know. And as you bring your new friends in, tell them how we do business. I don't want to waste time every single show explaining to the good people out there. But I will say this, one other nugget, and we got to get into our first topic. We have now reached on the Coach and Company side, Vince, to the point on YouTube where we have two completely different brands now. We had to get to a certain point. So we have our own YouTube channel with The Last Word, me, you, Tommy, and then we have our sports betting show over here. So our premium members are now just premium for pro wrestling. Then we have premium members over there. So it's all going to be separated. It's going to be a lot better.
Wait a minute. Are you trying to tell me in a roundabout way that once a year we're going to have to do a draft? Is that what you're Coach, is that what you're trying to tell me? There's a draft coming, Coach?
You may go to Coaching Company. I may bring over DG over here. Maybe Raphael. I don't know. Wherever. We're just like puppeteers. All right. So you guys know the drill. Here we go. Topic number one. And this is not a good topic. This is not a positive topic, but it is trending. It is still, people are talking about it. I didn't know what to think, Vince, when I first saw this video, but Knox, I want to make sure, Knox Pro Wrestling. It is Rikishi's wrestling company. They were having an event over the weekend, and Rampage Jackson is a big name in MMA. I was actually just shot a movie with him about a year ago. He's got a son named Raja, I believe is how it's named. So, as the videos are put together, Raja gets hit over the head with a beer can backstage by a worker, by a wrestler. He then proceeds to do a segment in the show that was pre-planned. And he got in there and gave a spine buster, and he's not trained, Vince. It nailed his name, Stu Smith is his name, Stu Smith. Psycho Stu, I believe is his ring name. Vince, he gets knocked out. And then Raja Jackson proceeds to hit him with real punches 22 times. And now this whole thing is now under investigation. Knox put out a statement basically saying that was selfish. That was not us. Rampage Jackson put out a statement saying, my son had a concussion from a few days before, had no business doing anything physical. So he's putting it on the company. Vince, all in all, this guy is not out of the woods yet. This could get uglier before it gets better.
Coach, there's a few bullet points throughout this thing I just want to point out that I think are very, very key to this story, Coach.
Yes.
First of all, the Psycho Stu was kind of showing Raja how to work a little bit because he hit him with a beer can, but he clearly hit him in a working way. Mm-hmm. You could see immediately that Raja did not get that, did not understand that they were working. And Psycho, Stu tried to smarten him up and say, you got to sell it. We're working. There's footage, Coach, a few moments after that, Psycho Stu apologized. There was a handshake. This thing was put to bed.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the problem, Coach. There was another wrestler on the card by the name of AJ Mana, M-A-N-A.
Okay.
There is footage out there of AJ Mana, one of the boys, telling Raja, you got to go out there and get a receipt.
I saw that video.
Okay, now you got to understand, Raja is not a wrestler.
No.
So if another wrestler is telling him, you got to go get a receipt, he doesn't know. Maybe he thinks it's a wrestling thing. And AJ Mana goes as far as to say, if you don't get a receipt, then I might go out there. Then we're really going to have a problem. So now you don't even know if Raja thinks this is part of the deal and, you know, he's expecting a receipt. You have no idea. So we went out and we saw a receipt, all right. But one other thing I want to point out, Coach, when you look at this video, bro, thank God for that one wrestler who I don't know what his name was, and I hope it comes out. He finally pulled Raja off of Psycho. He literally could have saved his life. He literally
I think he did. Vince, I think he
did too. And I want to know who that dude's name is because I think he saved his life.
When I watched it, Vince, there's no question he did because Raja would not have stopped. He landed 22 punches.
Jeez.
22 punches. And whether we had a guy call in to Off the Ropes today on SiriusXM, and he is a former MMA fighter, and he also has been in professional wrestling. And he said either way, but in MMA, when you knock somebody out in a fight, and when you pick them up like that and you slam them in a fight and they're knocked out, obviously the referee's going to slide in and you're not allowed to hit anymore. Or if you're pounding them and you knock them out, the referee's going to slide in and just kind of push you out of the way. He was not stopping.
No, he was not.
He was going to swing as many times as he was allowed to swing. So either he didn't understand what a receipt is or what a working receipt is, but it's pretty clear to me that, and this is an academy, so these are where people get trained. This is where wrestlers get trained, referees get trained. I'm sure setting up the ring gets trained. So Vince, we're not here to point blame. We're here to discuss what happened. And it was clear that outside of the one wrestler that you're talking about, it went about 20 to 25 seconds too long. And then when they did pull him off, he was trying to get back at him. So either it wasn't buried to him or he didn't understand what the segment was supposed to be.
Well, you know, Coach, this is a little more personal to me because we also have to talk about what else happened I believe it was the same day. You know, Coach, I do a show with Al Snow every single week called Lions, Tigers, Bears, and Head. And we look at clips from the Indies and, Coach, the ridiculous things that they are doing on the Indies. Every week, Coach, they are setting people on fire. They are sticking syringes, needles through people's cheeks, using weed whackers on people. We've been watching this every week for years.
God.
And I want to point this out because Al Snow has constantly said, somebody's going to die in the ring. Somebody's going to die in the ring. Now, did you see AEW? Did you see that Moxley fork attack on I can't even remember.
Well, it was in the end of the. It was like Young Bucks. It was Osprey. It was Moxley. I think I may have a mixed. You know, they were all kind of a schmoz, but
Darby Allin. It was on Darby Allin.
Yeah, Darby Allin. That's who
he
it was.
Just digging into his ear with a fork. It was so violent. And Coach, I'm going to say this. Because like I said, we've been following this for a couple of years and the level of violence and unsafe working conditions, they just keep raising the bar. Coach, I think we are at a point in wrestling on the indie scene and even the professional scene, if AEW is going to be involved in this. Coach, we may have to go back to look at this thing being commissioned and regulated again, because people don't remember, Coach, the whole reason that stopped was because Vince McMahon didn't want to pay taxes. So Vince McMahon deemed everything sports entertainment. This is not sports entertainment anymore.
No.
This is violence. And I'm telling you, for every wrestling school you have being run out there that by people that know what they're doing, Coach, you have another one run by people that don't know what they're doing. I'm telling you, man, this needs to be looked at because it's a much, much deeper problem.
I think that's very, very, very well said. I am not a fan. I'm a fan of comedic wrestling. And when it needs to be intense, then I'm a fan of it needing to be intense. You remember when I went off several months ago when Moxley put the plastic sack? Wasn't that Bryan Danielson over Bryan Danielson?
I believe so,
head?
yes. Yeah.
And I got, Coach, the kids understand. They understand it's not real. I'm like, we don't need to do it. And this is a ledge I stand on. And this is where you and I always agree. To me, pro wrestling is not about showing something where somebody could die. I'm tired of the stories having 8-year-old little Johnny put a sack over 7-year-old younger brother's head because he saw it on TBS or TNT on Wednesday night. And I'm not saying that happened, but we've seen it many times before, have we not? Where kids will try something they see on the show. Well, it's one thing to have a milk truck and shooting milk and beer everywhere. But Vince, why do we need to do the fork? Why does it have to be ECW light these days? And are they so desperate to get views and attention?
Coach, I can't tell you how much of the show when we do Lions, Tigers, Bears, and Head and Jeff Lane showing the clips, Coach, I'm watching it like this. I can't even watch it. Think about that for a second. I am a grown man who's been in the business for 30 years. Coach, I can't watch something that's supposed to be a work. This is supposed to be a work, and I've got to turn away from it. At that point, this needs to be regulated once again because they cannot govern themselves, Coach. We're seeing what's happening. What about the skews in the head? The handful of skews that they stick in the head that they got over from Japan. This is supposed to be a work, Coach.
Every bit of it is a work. The only physical part should be the actual moves, not the things they bring in to add to a show called the Forbidden Door. If you cannot write creatively enough, and I think this is probably why it drives you even crazier than it does me, because you look at everything. What do you always teach us? From a writing perspective. And people that watch and listen, and when you're a writer and they do that kind of crap, and that's what I'm going to call it, crap, as a great writer like yourself, it puts you behind the 8 ball even more than we already live in a bubble. That hasn't changed. But when you do crap like that and you have some mom, my mother wouldn't even watch that stuff. And I was in it for, damn near 15 years.
Yeah.
But why do you think they're still doing it? Why do you think the indies are taking it the next step? Why do you think AEW is letting Moxley get away with this?
Well, see, that's the thing. I'm really having an issue for what AEW is doing, because if I'm an independent wrestler, Coach, and now I'm watching this with Moxley and Darby Allin, could I possibly be thinking, heck, maybe this is what I have to do to get into AEW? This definitely should not be happening at that level. Listen, you guys know I am very hard on the WWE, and I'm very hard on the WWE because of lack of creative. But WWE ain't playing this card. I've
No,
got
they're
to
not.
tell you, we don't see people stabbing each other with objects and forks in the ear and syringes through the. They're not playing that game. And I'm sorry, Tony Khan, but you are the second largest wrestling promotion in the country, in the United States. And if indie workers are looking at your show and they're thinking that's what I've got to do to get on the show, he has the power to say, Coach, no more. Because here's what happens, Coach. You got to keep topping it. Now we're getting into a game of, can you top this? So when Al Snow says somebody's going to die in the ring, that's going to be because you keep trying to top what you're doing. You're going to get to a place where there's nowhere left to go, Coach.
I have seen the last few weeks. You're spot on. And maybe it's because of my algorithm, because when you look at certain things come through. I see the stuff you're talking about all the time. I mean, this crazy stuff where, I mean, Will Ospreay, for God's sake, did a backflip off the top of the cage, right? People say, well, Coach, who just did that? Jacob Fatu just did that as well. Jacob Fatu is not already scheduled for neck surgery. And as I'm reading this going, wait a second. And then I wanted to get, before we get too far away from the AEW stuff, JR is putting over the neck surgery, and then they do a full beatdown of Will Ospreay after the match. Vince, why would you do a beatdown of somebody that you know is going to be out for 6 to 12 months with a neck injury? And somebody said, well, Coach, they got to have a storyline for when he comes back. People are going to forget that shit by the time he comes back. Why would you do that?
Coach, you know why. You know why, and it's why I've been on my soapbox, because it's all about the pop. When you don't have characters and you don't have storylines, all you're playing for is the pop. And that is why they are doing all these ridiculous things for the pop. But like you said, Coach, the pop is an instant. The pop comes and goes. And now when you got to keep raising your game to get that pop, where are you going to go? I'll tell you where we're going to go. I'm going to stick a fork in your ear. I'm going to take out a chainsaw and literally cut you with it. That's where you're going, Coach.
Then it's crazy. Then it's absolutely crazy. By the way, can I admit something to you on national platforms right now?
You're not wearing any drawers today. So you could say, Coach, we're family. Coach, say it.
Feeling good. I got 2 fans on over. I'm feeling good. I actually stole that from you today.
What's that?
The booking for the pop.
Yeah, we are. We absolutely
I
are.
stole it. I use it on my radio show today.
Absolutely
because it's obvious that they are. By the way, I need to give a shout out to Kimberly. You know, Kim's our girl, right? She sends out social media posts.
Oh, yeah. Kimberly's the best. Yeah.
So she's the first person to be a double premium, as I call it. You're a double premium. She's a premium on coaching or on BTT. She's a premium on Coaching Company. So she deserves to be read.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kimberly. You're amazing. According to medical reports, the wrestler sustained multiple facial fractures and was choking on his own blood and teeth before he was stabilized. Reportedly, he lost several teeth in this attack by Raj Jackson. That's banana land. And it kind of goes back to the Travis Scott situation. And it also makes me give a lot more respect to the likes of Jelly Roll, who put in the time to learn to do what he was doing, throwing good punches, unlike Travis Scott, who could have knocked the hearing out of Cody Rhodes. And now you've got this nonsense going on at an indie promotion.
Yeah.
Crazy. All right. Our first, what do we call this? Curtain jerker of the day. Tom Brady, 7 rings, says, who are your Mount Rushmores of wrestling? Mine or Taker, Cena, Triple H, Austin. Why didn't you put the belt on Hall in WCW? Well, you can't get 2 questions for 1 super sticker. I'm going to decide for you. Which one do you want to answer, Vince?
I will answer the Scott Hall one. You could answer the Mount Rushmore.
All right. Very good. All right. I'll let you take it first.
Scott Hall didn't need a belt. I mean, Scott Hall, out of anybody, did not need a belt. You want to put the belt on somebody that might need a little push in getting over. You might put the belt on somebody that might help make somebody. Scott Hall was the last guy that needed a belt. He was over everywhere he went.
See, it's so funny you should mention that and bring that up, because I was talking today about Mercedes Moné, and I try to be as subjective as I can be, but sometimes, Vince, she doesn't make it easy. I mean, she is doing things, and I don't know if you saw it was about 60 seconds. I didn't have producer man load it today because I was like, I can't sit through it again. But she was, I swear to God, it drives me insane. And I had just gotten over the whole Bayley situation. The Bayley fans going, Coach, you made fun of. But look what Bayley's doing now. She's actually doing something. You're welcome, America. Now, with Mercedes, she has, at last count, Vince, 12 different, I'm kidding, not 9 different, 10. I don't know how many belts she has, Vince. Yeah. All I know is if she's the greatest female wrestler of all time, according to her, why does she need more than the AEW Women's World Championship? Why does she need 9 or 10 or 11 or 12, but yet they're doubling down? And Tony Khan sits there as she's addressing the media saying, this is where the best wrestle and the best are here, the best women's division. I'm sitting there going, wait a second. We don't know anything about your women's division because you have 2 names that get pushed every week, Toni Storm and Mercedes Moné. If I'm another female in that locker room, how am I feeling today?
Coach, the problem starts behind me. I don't know if you could see it or not here. That's where the problem starts. Tony Khan at Sasha Banks's birthday party.
There you go.
You don't listen. I am not going to take anything away from Mercedes Moné because she is working her boss like a charm, and he's being worked. I am not blaming her at all.
Okay, that's fair. But, fair.
Tony Khan, man, listen, I have fun with Tony. I am never hateful towards Tony. I think we're lucky Tony Khan is in the wrestling business because a lot of people are making a lot of good money because of Tony Khan. And I would hate to see Tony Khan go away. But Tony Khan has to open up his creative perspective to at least one other person or maybe 2 other people, because he's the only guy calling the shots over there. And with all due respect, he's made a lot of bad mistakes, and this is just one of them, Coach. How do you get anybody else over when one talent has nine titles?
And not even all of them are AEW titles. Oh, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way. The answer is you don't. And this is why it's kind of like that new Jerry Jones. I don't know if you've seen the documentary on Netflix. It's called America's Team. It's on when he bought the Cowboys back in 1988 or whatever, and he doesn't listen to anybody.
Yeah.
He has, and he says in episode 1 or episode 2, he said, the only way I was going to buy the team is if my family committed to working with me. And this was 30 years ago.
Yeah.
His 2 sons and daughter are still running the organization with him. What's the problem with the Dallas Cowboys? They're run by a family that thinks it's more important to make money than it is to win championships. And we're going on 28 years of that. Wow. And they are the most valuable franchise in American sports. Wow. Almost $15 billion. And he bought it for $150 million back in 1988. Nobody, just what you said, can take away from Jerry Jones his ability to make money. But at some point, the fan base has to say, but what about us?
Yeah.
What about us? And the AEW fan base needs to say the same thing. What about us? Now, I'm hesitant to do this because whenever I get quoted and the timeline's a little bit off, Vince, oh, Coach is an idiot. Coach is not an insider. Coach doesn't know these things. All I'm telling you is this is what's been told to me, that coming up this fall, there will be more than a couple of new faces at AEW on the creative side of things. So I'm not going to elaborate any more than that. After it happens, I can tell you what else I know. But the way the IWC is, I refuse to give out any more information until after it happens. It doesn't mean enough to me to break the news.
Yeah,
or to you, for that matter.
And I hope that's true. I really do hope that's true.
And 2 or 3 other things that I'll break on the show after that. But we're not here to break news. We're here to discuss news. We have a mid-carder, Vince. No banning 2025 says, big fan, Vince, but got a question. You always say Zayn ain't realistic since all the big guys would crush him in a shoot, but why was it okay for Jarrett to be champ with Goldberg, Steiner, Big Show, etc.?
Well, first of all, Jeff Jarrett was a great wrestler. Do not, and let me just say this, in my opinion, Sami Zayn is not the wrestler that Jeff Jarrett is. Also, Jeff Jarrett had some type of a physique. Jeff Jarrett had a body to him. Jeff Jarrett had some muscle mass to him. Put Jeff Jarrett next to Sami Zayn, and if I ask 1,000 people which one of these two is a professional wrestler, 1,000 people are going to say Jeff Jarrett. I'm sorry, that's the truth.
1,000%. I had somebody actually tell me, Coach, if you don't think this is somebody on X, if you don't think Sami Zayn's a main event talent, then you don't know main event talent.
Well,
I was like, why do I put myself through this? Why do I continue to do it?
And I want to point this out too. This is a little bit of a difference between Sami and Jeff. Coach, Jeff was a heel. So when Jeff won, he was cheating. He was breaking the rules. He was getting disqualified. That's how Jeff won matches. Jeff was not pinning Goldberg. Jeff was not pinning Gunther. Jeff was not pinning Scott Steiner. Jeff won because he was a heel and he cheated to win. That's how Jeff won.
That's the difference. And that's the difference between a heel and a baby face. Real quick, we did not answer my Mount Rushmore. Here's my 4, and they're pretty clear. Taker, you can't win 20 times at WrestleMania and not be on the Mount Rushmore. Anybody that doesn't have Taker on theirs is an idiot. Cena is he has morphed between one era to another. Got to put him up there. The Rock morphed Hollywood more into, and then Stone Cold Steve Austin. I don't think, Vince, anybody ever took the business more serious than Stone Cold. Do you?
Oh, no, not at all. I would agree with that 1,000%.
Sean McDermott says, say what you want about Mercedes Moné. She's worked her arse off the last few years all over the world. She worked 4 different promotions last week, including the night before Forbidden Door pay-per-view. Sean, I love you. I really, really do. But she's making millions, at least if we believe what she says to be true. And Vince, isn't it a much different world when you're a main event talent and you show up for 3 or 4 nights in a row, you're getting big paychecks? The whole world's different, is it not, when you're making millions, as opposed to, man, I just got to get my shit in tonight. I just hope I get a little bit of rub. I hope I make $5,000. Her world's different.
Yeah, and not only that, Sean, but you have to understand what Coach and I are talking about here is we're talking about the booking. She's the wrestler. She should not be the booker, and she should not be the writer. She's a wrestler. She should not, she's not the one putting these titles on herself. So it really isn't a critique of her and her hard work. I don't think either one of us said that. It's really a question of the booking.
It really, really is. And they need to be better, because it only hurts the locker room as well. If you're a female in that locker room, and every week all you see is Mercedes Moné talking about being on the private jet, talking about, the 9 belts or whatever it is, and all you're trying to get, Vince, is a little taste. Just give me a little taste. Do you know what that would do for the entire locker room if you spread it around just a little bit, just 1 or 2? I said this, and tell me what you think about this, that if we're talking about levels to a character and you're smart enough to think, how can I last the longest? If I'm Mercedes Moné, what if I started losing the belts one by one in ways that didn't damper how great I am, but just you have a little bit of bad luck, and she has like 5 or 6 different things, and every person that beats her now gets to cut a promo or now gets to brag a little bit, and now you've got your big champion having to be a little bit vulnerable and show different levels other than just gloating all the time when it feels like nails on a chalkboard.
I'm going to go a different way, Coach.
Give it to me.
Maybe you and I need to be booking for AEW. I'm going to go a different way.
Talk to me.
How about Mercedes Moné has so many belts that it is impossible for her to defend them all? So she has a little posse of maybe 3 or 4 other female wrestlers who defend these certain titles for her. How about that, Coach?
And then if they lose, she berates them.
It
doesn't come down on her, but yet whoever wins it can say, I beat her, and ignore the fact they beat a minion.
Or if they successfully defend and now start believing they're better than See, you know what that's called, Coach? That's called the story, Coach. That's called the story with legs, Coach.
Is that long-term booking?
Yeah, Coach, it kind of is. How simple is that to do? How simple?
You gotta stop making sense.
Yeah.
Stop making sense. God, I love that. Tony, line 1. I mean, we can put it all behind us. We can put it all behind us. You are watching the Coach and Bro Show, the Monday edition presented by Afterburn, the movie starring Dave Bautista and Samuel L. Jackson. All right, Roland Curtis says if Sasha Banks has 9 belts, then she's probably copying Clarissa Shields in boxing. Shields is undisputed in 3 weight classes, which means 12 belts, and she's called the GWOAT, greatest woman of all time. Roland, I love you as well. Clarissa Shields is about as unlikable an athlete that I've ever been around in my life. Vince, I don't know if you're familiar with Clarissa Shields.
I'm not, Coach.
She's a great boxer. She's considered pound for pound like number 2 or 3 in the world. This shows how little she pays attention to anything. I work with the PFL. She signed with the PFL because she wanted to fight MMA and not just boxing. Well, she realized very quickly it's not the same game. And she went from being the GWOAT in boxing to being put on her back multiple fights in a row. So I put out something on Twitter kind of backing her. I was like, the promotions got her back. She's like, why are you always coming at me? I'm like, this is literally the first tweet I've ever even put your name into, but it's okay. And she's like, and she didn't even realize, Vince, that I was working with the company. And I've been with the company 5 years. And I'm like, wow. And now she is dating the ex-husband of a very famous rapper named Papoose. And I know you listen to a lot of Papoose' music.
Oh, yeah, Papoose. I'm a big fan of Papoose.
He was married to Remy Ma. Remy Ma is a Grammy Award winning. I mean, she is legit as it comes. And so there's a whole bunch of stuff going on there. And she doesn't even care about boxing anymore. But Papoose, that's our guy, Vince. That's our guy. All right, let's get back to it. All right, Sean McDermott. He is a curtain jerker, Vince. He wants to defend himself.
Go for it.
But to be fair, Mercedes, none of those titles mean anything. She lost to Toni Storm for the only title that matters. But Sean, here's the problem. She's bragging about all the titles meaning something. So in her mind and to the storyline, they do mean something, Vince. And that's the problem, is sometimes you have too many, they mean nothing.
Absolutely. Just Coach, I mean, I watch Raw and SmackDown every week. I sit through both shows, and when I have to name who's the IC champion, who's some of them I can't even remember. I mean, there are so many titles. It is hard to keep up with who's got what title for what brand. At some point, there's too many, Coach, and it means nothing.
And to me, if you are a company with 2 brands, it's one thing if you're the NFL and you got the AFC Player of the Year and the NFC Player, because you got 16 teams. This is a company that has 2 world champions, that has 2 world tag team champions, that had 2. And this is just the WWE, not to mention AEW. To me, that's why the brand split is stupid. But I was talking to somebody the other day. They said, but Coach, can you imagine making the talent travel twice a week? I thought they were kidding for a second. Ladies and gentlemen, you got to understand this business. If you're lucky, and you hit big, you might have 3 to 5 years to make it big. So if you're paying me 7 figures, Vince, guess what I'm going to do? get my ass on an airplane twice a week happily because I'm now being used on TV every place that I go. And isn't it every wrestler's dream to be used and be, quote unquote, a main event talent somewhere? Isn't that the dream?
The dream is to, first of all, the dream is to make a living as a professional wrestler.
Boom.
And the dream also should be to make as much money as you possibly can as a professional wrestler.
And with that being said, our goal is to make as much as we possibly can as wrestling contributors, analysts, former greats, former tag team champion of the world, former world heavyweight champion. Don't try us. Do not try us, I said. All right. Kardik says, what's the most inspirational story that you had or you witnessed with a wrestler in real life, personal level, when you all were working in the industry? These are the questions I like.
Yeah.
These are the questions. The most inspirational story that I ever witnessed. Wow. Do you know one off the top of your head, or you got to think about it first?
God, I'd have to think about it as well, Coach. I'd have to think about it.
All right, we'll get back to it before the end of the show. I promise you that. I got to think about it. At 75404 says, Coach, I'm not an idiot. My Mount Rushmore has... Very good. Vince McMahon, Bruno Sammartino, Hulk Hogan, Ernie the Big Cat Lad. Your thoughts?
Coach, Ernie the Big Cat Lad was my idol when I was a lad.
Really?
And Coach, I'll never forget this. I got to meet him one time, and I did the whole humna Ralph Cramden.
Really?
Coach, I shook his hand. His hand came over my wrist. The biggest hands of any man I ever saw in my... God, think about what we talked about on the first part of this show. Now look at this Mount Rushmore. Vince McMahon, Bruno Sammartino, Hulk Hogan, and Ernie the Big Cat Lad, the greatest workers in the history of professional wrestling. We went from these guys to what we're looking at today. Think about that for a second.
And all of these guys, by the way, I've never seen somebody hold court like Ernie Big Cat. When he'd come, he'd randomly show up in some town, and boy, he'd walk into our room. I loved him. He was such a good dude and nice and just bigger than life, and certainly the big hands as well. I just lost my train of thought. We got to go to the next one. Jimmy Fingers. I had something to say about that. You said biggest workers in the room. I think that's the one thing I'm never going to apologize for, no matter how many wrestling fans call us idiots, is understanding that this business will only be as good as the boys will allow it to stay a little bit behind the curtain. And all four of these names, it was that to them. It was that to Stone Cold Steve Austin. It's real. And I think even when you're an actor, some of the great actors, the Denzels, the Samuel L's, to them, whatever character they were in, that was real.
Yeah.
And I hate when fans, especially young ones, Gen Z, oh, you don't. And I'm like, wait a second. In order for you to enjoy us, this has got to be real to me. Right. That's what acting is. That's what being an athlete is. And I'm never going to lose that, Vince, because if I go, oh, it's fake, guess what? I'm not giving my full effort. It's just not possible.
Yeah.
And I want to give it all, right? When we show up here, this is real to us.
Oh, absolutely. And sometimes I have to say things that I know are going to get me in trouble because it is real to me. Coach, there is a great documentary on Netflix, and I'm sure you've seen it. One of perhaps the best doc I've ever seen, when Jim Carrey was playing Andy Kaufman. And he was Andy Kaufman on set 24/7, and you had to speak to him as Andy Kaufman. Man, that is an artist. That is a real, true artist.
And that is a man who wrote himself a $10 million check when he was dead broke and said, I'm going to cash it someday. And he did. So you can make fun of us all you want. I am all in. Vince Russo is all in. When I show up, you guys get every bit of us. Every bit of us. All right, Jimmy Fingers. who was dead to me a couple of weeks ago, but we're good now. Says, Coach, off topic, but I got to take a minute to put you over here. I did not realize how many matches you've called, especially the Hogan and overselling HBK match. Excalibur could learn a few things. Well, Jimmy, I mean, I don't know why people go, I forgot how many. I was there my first time for 11 years.
It's amazing. God bless you.
Thank you. Well, no kidding, right?
Yeah.
Called Raw, called SmackDown, and then I got in the ring in 2003, but I still called matches after that. Whatever the boss said, I would do it. Yeah. In hindsight, like an idiot.
Coach, I got my inspirational moment.
You do?
Yes.
I was just saying, I think that's why I'm losing my train of thought, because I'm so into this question.
While I go, you think. All right,
you go. I'm going to think. Go.
Guys, I am telling you, and I just watched it back maybe a couple of months ago for my Attitude Era show. When Shane McMahon was introduced to WWE television, and he went out and cut his very first promo on his own man, Vince. And when he told Vince about, you were never there when I was a kid, and you missed this and you missed that. Coach, that was 100% real.
Wow.
That was Shane McMahon as a shoot, even though people thought it was TV, it was a work. That was Shane McMahon as a shoot, telling you what it was like growing up with Vince McMahon as a father. And I remember, Coach, like I produced that, so I spent all day with him. And the reason that was so good and so riveting was every single word of it was real. And here's the beautiful thing of it, and this is the stuff in wrestling that you guys really don't know unless people like Coach and I tell you. Coach, this was a promo that Shane McMahon, or a conversation that Shane McMahon probably wanted to say to Vince his entire life. And he couldn't do it until he was on TV, and it was a storyline. And when I watched Shane perform that, I knew he meant every single word, and I knew that was inside of him for 20-something years. And man, it was hard to watch that without choking up.
It's interesting that that's your story and that's who you decided to pick, because I think a lot of these stories, they always come back to Vince, and there's a lot of McMahon, and there's a lot of people out there that can't understand, that have really good relationships with their parents or their grandparents. Mm-hmm. They can't understand, you've got all this money, you've got all of this fame. How can it not be good? How can you not enjoy it? And it goes, but back when they were growing up, they didn't have the money. It was a struggle, and he had to be tough, and he had to be difficult. And there were different times where if he went right, then the company would have gone left, or vice versa. But once they got to the multi-million-dollar billionaire stage, isn't it sad? Because the American dream is to build something that you can leave for your family and enjoy while you are here.
Yes.
That's the American dream. That's what it boils down to. And they have not been able to do that.
Yeah.
And I find that sad. And that's all Shane wanted.
Yeah.
Because remember when he came back in 2015 or 16, and we had taken SportsCenter on the road from ESPN, and we had got it on, and I'm very proud of that. And I remember sitting down, and he was going to, I think it was Undertaker Hell in a Cell. Remember when he jumped off the top through the announce table?
Yeah.
So I knew he was going to do something crazy. And I remember sitting there, and I said, Shane, why are you coming back to wrestle? I can understand coming back to be in the business. And hell, Vince, I told my dad this. I said, if you were worth $1 billion, I could fake it to get some of that cash on my way out the door. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he laughed at it. But I could understand that. And a lot of people could. He looked at me and he said, here's why I'm coming back. Because my kids did not have the ability to see their father perform when he did all that crazy shit with Kurt Angle and jumping off the Jumbotron. His kids were super, super tiny.
Yeah.
He goes, I want them to see their dad and be proud of their dad now.
Yeah.
It kind of piggybacks your story a little bit, because he would have loved for Vince to say, hey, man, I'm proud of you, son.
Yeah.
This was amazing. What you did is fantastic. He's probably never had that. Maybe now. He just turned 80. That was going to be our second topic. You know, we've literally gone over 40 minutes on all this stuff. We didn't even get to topic number 2, and that is Vince McMahon's 80th birthday party. And this was, to me, I don't know why this is not getting more play, Vince, but to me, the reason it needs to get play is because of the people who were there. And we know how petty this business can be.
And the people who weren't there.
Boom. That's what we're talking about. Right. So real quick, let's nail these super stickers, and we'll get into that quickly. I saw the riddle, Sean McDermott. John Cena's last match will be Sami Zayn before he wins the Rumble, becomes champ at Mania.
Hey, I would not doubt that, man.
Can you imagine if they made Sami Zayn the champion at WrestleMania?
Yes, I can.
Oh, my gosh. Yes. Sean McDermott, he's going to ride this train all the way home. That's all right. You know, we have a winner every show on who has the biggest super sticker. And none of you get dirty out there. You know what I'm talking about. The point of Mercedes being unbeaten and winning every belt was just to put Toni Storm over on the biggest stage. Only Toni Storm beat her. That's the point, guys. Sean, we get it. We get it, Sean. But you're missing the entire point of how you build a character. She didn't need it. Neither did Toni Storm. Toni Storm's character is eccentric. It's not even, I don't even think of her as a world champion. She's so entertaining, Vince. She doesn't need all that stuff. I just want to hear her cut a promo. That'd be good enough for me. Wouldn't it be good enough for you?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's funny that you say that, because the argument on the other side would be, Coach, and this kind of shows you the flaws, you know, when it comes to the WWE, because the argument on the other side would be, well, Becky Lynch doesn't need a title either. Becky Lynch doesn't need a title either, but they've tried putting titles on women that are not over, and that's been a disaster. So the reason that's on Becky Lynch is because there's nobody else to put it on, because it won't even help some of those women get over. So, you know, you've got to understand, but if you've got somebody that's right there, that title can make them or break them, Coach.
There's no question about it. It's perception, everybody. It's perception. That's why they make anybody a champion. And when you're a world champ, there's a reason John Cena became 17-time. I don't care what anybody says, Vince. WWE did not want Ric Flair to have that name and have the most titles. They didn't. In the history books, which, again, don't tell anybody. These are manufactured. Me and Vince could be 17-time world champions, but they're there for a reason. Yeah. And it's to show the world how big John Cena was, or how big this guy was, whatever the case might be. Lonnie Mead, 1776, says, Coach and Bro, 80s, 90s matches told more stories in the ring in one match versus today's product in a month. Can't argue with that. Can't argue with that. Vince, I saw a video, I believe in Joe, of Kevin Nash talking about you, and he started by saying you are very charming, and I agree. You are known you know how to charm people.
Well, obviously, Coach, somebody must have charmed the underpants off of me, Coach, because I'm Coach, I'm free balling right now.
That's all I do.
I got no problem telling you that, Coach. Right now, I'm free balling. As a 64-year-old man, I'm free balling right here, right now.
Oh, my God.
I'm trying to save you money. I'm trying to save you money to get you off the road 3.5 weeks at a time, Coach.
I hate I'm even going to miss this. I'm even going to admit this. Why can
You're free balling right now.
I'm thinking about you free balling it right now. That's what I'm thinking about. And I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I believe in Joe Gacy says, T Dunn says, just came across Kurt Angle going to Sting's son's football game at TNA. How was it shooting that, Vince? I dare Zayn to make anything remotely as good. Do you remember that?
That was great. Yeah, that was absolutely great. T Dunn, that's the stuff I miss. And again, Coach, a lot of this goes back to, with all the content they have to produce, they don't have the time to do that. That's part of the problem, guys. That's what we've been saying all along.
Can you imagine saying now, because they've limited everything on the road, by the way, they only have a certain number of camera guys, a certain number of this, certain number of that, to say, hey, we need a crew to go out to a grocery store. And for the next 8 hours, you're going to be either Stone Cold and Booker T and shoot the most amazing fight ever. No, can't do it. Can't do it. We can't spare the guy. We can't spare the crew.
Gosh.
And that, to me, is the entertaining part of the business, as you just alluded to.
Absolutely.
But now I can't remember the last off-site shoot that I've seen on the show. Can you?
I can't. Yeah, I mean, I would have to think about it, but I can't think of one.
I got it. A few weeks ago, Adam Pierce shot a video.
You love those Adam Pierce videos.
I'm trying to put him over.
Coach.
I'm trying to put him over.
Coach, you know what I threw out there, Coach? Coach, how about Coach? People like, man, Vince, you're so tough on the WWE. No, I'm trying to help. Coach, Jericho's contract is coming up.
Correct.
What if the WWE brings Jericho back? Let Jericho be the authority figure for both shows. Put Jericho in that role. Put Nick Aldis back in the ring. Do you know how much you would add to those shows by Chris Jericho being the GM? You know how much you would add to those shows?
I just have one thing to say to that idea, Vince Russo.
Go ahead, Coach.
You just made the list.
Very
And I think he would love it too.
Oh, he'd love it.
Let's be honest. Chris Jericho does not want to stay in shape to work through.
No, and he doesn't need to. He doesn't need to. Does not need to, man.
54 years of age. And let's remember that 40 is old in the NFL. We act like in wrestling, they can wrestle forever. Not bangers, they can't.
Yeah.
Not bangers, they can't.
Yeah.
So, Jerry, any wrestler at 54, Vince, or 64 or 74 would love to come back in their role where they make, let's even say it's $500,000. When did $500,000 stop becoming a lot of money? I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
But he would be great. I would love that idea.
Great.
Would love that idea. All right, Sean. All right, Sean's going to win. I think Sean McDermott's going to win the prize today. He goes, I watched SmackDown Live for the first time since probably 2000 last Friday because it was here in Ireland. I feel you. Oh, Sean's in Ireland. Okay. I feel your pain, Vince. Now, how anyone can sit through 2 hours of that track is beyond me. I always love it every Friday that I'm out doing something or I've got my monthly poker game. I'm like, what is Vince Russo doing right now?
Coach, it was tough.
Oh, he's doing the bro down. Oh, the bro down.
It was tough.
Jimmy Fingers says, Sean McDermott's got nothing on me. Look at the profile picture, Coach. Could you sell that in 2025 like you did for Tajiri 20 years ago? What profile pic? That's the question. What profile pic? Oh, we'll have to go to Jimmy's. Is that Jimmy's?
Well, there's the picture right there, Coach. Somebody's spewing something out of their mouth. You see the picture right there on the screen? That's what he's talking about.
I see. Oh, okay. I see what he's doing. Fingers is I think he actually is vaping. Actually.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Yeah. He's vaping. Yeah, of course. Producer man's all over it. Already sent me in a large picture. That's how good producer man is.
There you go, man.
Yes, I could sell that, Jimmy. Hell yes, I could. DF says, you guys hear about Rampage Jackson's son? Thanks for tuning in the first 30 minutes. Thank you for the super sticker. Already talked about it for 30 minutes. But yes, thank you for bringing that to our attention. So, Vince, I think I've come up with my most memorable moment. I had it, and then we've done 8 things since then, and I've lost my train of thought. So we're going to get into the next one. I remember what it was. So, there's certain moments in your life that you stop and you say, how did I get here? How did I get to this moment? And every time I think about this moment I'm getting ready to describe to you, I get emotional for a couple of different reasons. And you and I are both the same. We get emotional. Things mean something to us, our families, the whole deal. So in 2000, when I had just left Kansas, and I thought my dream was ESPN, but that was so far away. I was like, I'm going to be in Kansas City for the rest of my career. Mm-hmm. Then I end up getting the job at the WWE. I worked for 4 months doing both jobs. So imagine Mondays and Tuesdays, I'm at Raw and SmackDown. Then I fly back to Kansas City Wednesday through Sunday. I'm anchoring the news at night. So I was working 7 days a week for the entire football season. Okay. And I thought I could do it for 2.5 years because Kevin Dunn was like, hey, I'll let you do this for 2.5 years until your deal's done to come here. So anyway, I'm glad that didn't happen because I damn near killed myself for 4 months, let alone 2.5 years. So the WWF New York restaurant was opening in Times Square. We had so much stroke at that time, they shut down the entire thing 3 or 4 blocks in either direction. We're talking probably 20, 30,000 people packing. And I'm 22, maybe 23. And I remember getting there and they said to me, Coach, we need you up on the stage. They built like a stage. And remember, this is outside. This is all these people. And I said, what do you need from me? I'm brand new. And they said, we need you to announce the first, God, I'm getting goosebumps, the first limousine that's coming. And you look down the road, Vince, and there's probably 30 or 40 limousines just backed up, ready to just come down the block. And I said, who's the first talent in the first car? And they said, it's The Rock. And so I got up there, and with everything I had and hearing every fan that was in Times Square saying, who are you? You suck. You're dumb. Give me somebody. And I was like, nope, not going to hear it. And I said, and this is when I knew I was home. And I said, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our very first talent to WWF New York, right here, live in Times Square. He is the great one. He is the Brahma Bull. He is The Rock. They hit his music, Vince. Imagine New York City, Times awesome. Square, The Rock's music. If The Rock says, Vince, he gets out of the limousine, and I'll never forget to this day, he was wearing a red jacket, black turtleneck. Only he can wear sunglasses at night. He got out, and I remember saying to myself, and I'll never forget it, he might be the coolest human being I've ever seen in my life. In my life. And the person that I was standing in for got caught in traffic, is now resting in peace. And that, of course, is the great Howard Finkel.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So when I think of that story, that's how my whole career started.
That's awesome, man.
And yeah, it was
talk
amazing.
About being thrown in the fire, huh, man?
I know, right?
Yeah,
what are you supposed to do? Coach, get up there.
Get
awesome,
up there.
Man. It was awesome.
Great.
It was just awesome. A couple other ones. WWE was once again demoted off network TV with Saturday Night's Main Event going exclusively to Peacock. No Jesse and no NBC. No reason to watch anymore. Just another show. Here's why they did that, Vince. And I just got we talk about here all the time about the cost, right? So the other day I went to do something on Peacock, and it comes up on my screen. And it says that on September 14th, they are raising Peacock from $7.99 to $10.99. Okay? And then, so it's going to be $3 more. Let's say they have 40 million subscribers. That's going to be an extra $120 million per month they're going to make. Why would they do this right now? Because they're losing the PLEs, we thought, next year. They're not. They're using the PLEs right freaking now. The first one, WrestlePalooza, is going to be in Indiana. We know it's going to be Cena and Brock Lesnar. So, Vince, in order to get people to keep having Peacock, what do? You put Saturday Night's Main Event, which is where who is going to have his last match in December. Yeah.
Hey, they know what they're doing strategy-wise. Nobody's doubting that. Guys, we have said, we cannot say it enough. They know how to print money. And we've always put them over for that. We cannot say that enough.
Always. Kimberly says, I know that feeling, Coach. That has been over the past few months, getting to interact and support the brands, living my sports fan dream. Kimberly, that's exactly what we're talking about. And it doesn't matter who you are, where you're at. But Vince, I feel like we've created, and I don't know if you realize this, we just went past our 1-year anniversary.
Wow.
Did you know that?
Are you serious, Coach?
We did.
Wow. Yeah. I would have. I wouldn't have even thought we were close to that.
Yeah. We launched last August.
That is great.
And look who we're at. 100 episodes we've had as well. 100. Wow. Is that pretty cool?
Coach, I say this all the time. There are three tandems where somebody has rode somebody else's coattails and made an entire career out of it, Coach.
Who's that?
Number one, without a shadow of a doubt, Robin Quivers and Howard Stern.
Oh my gosh!
Oh
without
my!
a doubt.
Please,
Can you imagine?
Please, please. I'm going to say this, very controversial.
Okay.
Eric Bischoff, Hulk Hogan. Very controversial, but
which one was riding?
Eric Bischoff made a lot of money riding the Hogan coattails.
I would have loved to have been on that. I find this kind of stuff fascinating. I would have loved to just listen into the first phone call when Eric wanted to make a play for the Hulkster.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff would be the most fascinating, unreal episode you could ever shoot.
Yeah.
How did it start? How did it go? How much money did they talk about?
Yeah. Well, I mean, basically when he paid Hulk all that money at WCW, from that point on, Hulk included him in on everything. Everything. And number 3, we're only a year in, Coach, but I know what coattails I'm riding. I am riding your coattails, Coach, to the top. Coach, I told you that at the beginning. I was riding your coat. But here's the problem. I got no problem saying that, Coach. I got no problem saying it.
I have no problem accepting it.
Okay.
The only with you can I go an hour and it feels like 30. I swear to God. In some other show, I'm like, oh my God, can we please stop? And I never want this show to stop. I swear to God, I never do.
We didn't even get to the birthday bash.
No, we're gonna get to it, I promise. We're gonna do these last 2 and then the bash, because we got to talk about it's very important.
Very important. Very important.
So Sean McDermott from Ireland says, give Tony Khan credit. He's changed the shown to long-term storytelling and character development. Kind of refreshing to see. I think he's trying. I believe Sean McDermott's biggest rival, Jimmy Fingers, says, hey, had Bray Wyatt lived, would he have survived the Netflix era as a top guy, or would he be below Sami Zayn right now? That's an interesting question. He was a different kind of talent that was beloved. But you see what happened to the Wyatt Six. Yeah. They are nowhere to be found right now. And that was his baby. So I don't know, Vince. What do you think?
And that's really sad, too, because Bo Dallas has showed us that he may not be as talented as Bray was, but he's talented. And he's done a great job with that Uncle Howdy. And in my opinion, they've just wasted it, man.
They really, really have. They wasted it in so many different ways from night number 1. And all of you made fun of us. So what's the big deal taking a picture at Whataburger out of character?
Yeah.
Look what's happened. They went nowhere. No longer scary. No longer special. No longer any of it. It started right there. McDermott, Vince, when does your new show start? Will it be available on YouTube or just through you have a new show that I don't know about?
I don't know if they're talking about the replacement. They might be talking about the replacement for the disco show. They might be talking about. Yeah.
Oh,
I just got to replace the show in my lineup. And I think we don't miss a beat. So I think the first one might be this week.
Wow. Yeah. Okay. One of these days, that's going to be a pay-per-view, Vince.
Yes, absolutely.
That's going to be a pay-per-view. Yeah. Last one, Vince, I hope you invited Coach to watch WWE Unreal with you. Also, can't wait to hear you comment about how the TV script looks for the shows. It seems like a long time ago, but we used to get, just so people know, when we would walk into the production meeting, it was like, they hand out the scripts to the show. And can you imagine in 2025 them handing, I'm talking finishes to these matches. When you can gamble on wrestling matches, Vince, can you imagine now them walking around the room going, here you go, here you go. That's the way it was when I was there. Yeah. I knew the finish of every match at noon.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or 1 o'clock.
Yeah. Gosh.
It was something.
I don't know how it was when you were there, Coach, but I would say my formats for every show, I would say was probably 12 to 15 pages for every show.
Oh, wow. It was a lot more than that. It was a lot more than that.
Yeah.
You kept it simple, though. You kept it simple.
I tried.
Everybody else tries to overcomplicate it.
Yeah.
All right, one other topic, and I realized, but it's all your guys' fault with the super stickers because we want to get to all of them. But Vince, one other topic we got to hit on, then we'll get the hell out of Dodge. Vince McMahon turned 80 yesterday on Sunday, And on Friday or Saturday, I can't remember which night, it doesn't matter, he threw himself a big birthday bash at Gothic Hall in New York City. And that thing wasn't just, hey, show up for dinner. This was AC/DC playing a set. This is Kid Rock playing a set. And here are some of the names that showed up. And you tell me if any of them shock you based off of the relationship with TKO, WWE event, the whole deal. We know the drill, right? So I'm going to read these names to you, Vince. The Undertaker, Bruce Pritchard, JBL, who just called the AAA show with Corey Graves and Conan, Sheamus, current WWE superstar, Cena, current WWE superstar, Kane, former, R-Truth, current WWE superstar, Sergeant Slaughter, legend, Michelle McCool, the wife of The Undertaker, and his son, Shane McMahon. That's just a small list of those that were there. Is this a big deal? Is it a nothing burger? What'd you say?
I think you left the name out, Coach.
Were you at the birthday party?
No, not me, but I think you left a very important name out of who was there.
Oh, who did I miss?
Was Sami Zayn at the party? Coach, was Sammy there, Coach?
He's thinking, Vince, you put me over for so many years. I need you back, Vince.
Coach, we got to listen. I know we're an hour 10 in. We got to dive into this a little bit because I can't figure it out. First of all, listen, guys, you don't have to thank us. You don't have to say, guys, you were right. You've been saying this all along. You've been saying this for the last 2-3 years. You don't have to tell us that. The fact that Trips and his daughter were not at the party. Okay. Okay. Man, Coach, I don't know what to think of this because on one hand, to me, listen, we know how this company conducts business and we always put them over for their business. We always do, Coach, right? We
always.
Well, part of the good business should probably be keeping your distance from Vince McMahon until all this Janelle Grant stuff clears. Yes. Because if I'm TKO, if I'm Ari Emanuel, I don't want to have any dirt under my nails. So keep your distance. Listen, if we're going to have conversations with Vince, nobody's going to know about them. They're going to be in back rooms. I mean, whatever the case may be. But on a public forum, nobody is going to know we have anything to do with this man.
1,000%.
My biggest one is, the boys I don't have a problem with because the boys are the boys. The boys are not Office. Mm-hmm. Bruce Pritchard represents TKO. Bruce Pritchard is Office. Bruce Pritchard would be one of the top 3 guys running that company. As a matter of fact, if you ask me, I would say it's Triple H, then Bruce Pritchard. So Bruce clearly represents TKO, but yet Bruce is publicly, because there's video of him, publicly apart. This is a head scratcher for me, Coach. I can't wait to hear your take on this.
So I thought a lot about this because I think 6 months ago we were quoted a lot, but now everybody watches the show. So I wanted to be very careful because you know what's going to be on one of those dirt sheets. Vince said, as if it's a fact. If I was still sitting there in the Bruce Pritchard chair, which is literally, if you watch Unreal, he is sitting there right at Gorilla before you go out. He is in the prominent chair, and he has been for many, many, many years.
Yes.
I tried to put myself in a situation of, if this was a really, really good friend of mine, if it was a person that allowed me to have a living for my entire adult life, which is what Vince provided to Bruce, even during the downtimes.
I'm going to go one step further.
Please.
Vince McMahon is a father figure to Bruce. Make no bones about Bruce Pritchard loves Vince McMahon like a father. So that's how deep it is, Coach.
Yes, it does. Yes, it is. And so with that being said, I want you all to understand that normally I would probably condemn this and saying it's not a smart business move. But when you get into your 60s, at some point you got to stand on something. At some point, say, Vince, if it was you and you had a birthday party, and I would come. I absolutely would come. That's how much you mean to me now. And we've only known each other a very short period of time, comparatively speaking. But when you've given me my entire – this is why I've always told you I'm conflicted when it comes to Vince, because I have 2 children that I don't think I would have without the WWE. I think some of the gigs, despite what he has done to me, I don't think I would have had without the WWE. So you look at it and you say, well, how much is that worth, Vince, as opposed to, do I want to keep this job for the rest of my career, however long that is? And now people are working into their 80s. You know, the whole 65, that is over. Nobody's retiring at 65. So Vince, if I'm Taker, he's untouchable. If I'm Cena, he's gone in 3 months. What is the company going to do? Say, well, we're going to punish you because you went to Vince's birthday party? No. But if I'm still working there and I want to be there for a long period of time, man, I don't know. I'd have to really think about it. Especially, they wouldn't even care. I would have gone out a back door. I was something. They just walked right out to the street. All those videos are there. Clearly, none of them cared. Just like his dinner, 3-4 months ago? They had a dinner in New York City, and almost the same exact group, plus Kevin Dunn, went to that one.
So are you ruling out, Coach, that there could possibly still be a relationship between Ari and TKO and Vince McMahon? Are you completely ruling that out?
No, I'm not. What I'm ruling out is, in any way, shape, or form, Triple H, and I'm backing you on this one.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, the fact that they didn't show up.
That's the most important thing. Absolutely.
1,000%. Yes. Shane was there.
Yes.
Triple H and Stephanie were not there.
Yes.
Stephanie voted Vince out a year and a half ago, whenever it was. Yes. That ship has sailed. Vince, I'd have a hard time if one of my children voted me out of the company that I started.
Absolutely.
I just would. I just would, because now he's worth $6 billion. And on his 80th birthday, Vince, he is throwing a party for himself and probably overpaying Kid Rock and AC/DC to come and play the party so he can get his friends there, and probably going, it probably, in my mind, remember the final scene from Brewster's Millions? When he got all that money, then he had to spend it in order to get the $300 million, but he couldn't tell anybody.
Yeah.
So he still had like 10 grand left on the last day, and he threw himself a party. And it was like guys that were laying out, that were drunk, that were like the last people that he had that supported him. In his mind, that's how I think about this party, even though I'm sure it was not.
Yeah.
But that's how far out of the business in my mind Vince is now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, we live it right here, where me and you, it's right on our sleeve. I don't know if I would go. Well, I would go if I was invited, because I'm not in the WWE.
Yeah.
What would you?
Coach, did I lose your audio?
No, you there?
Okay. Coach, what the interest that I here's the thing that really sucks. Triple H and TKO, they just ended those scrums, because if Triple H was asked, what is he going to say? Oh, see, that's I would love TMZ. I would love somebody to pose that question. What would he say? But out of this entire situation, that is the most telling thing, and there should not be a doubt in anybody's mind that there is not a relationship with Vince McMahon and his daughter and son-in-law.
And if you don't believe that, then add Bruce Pritchard to the mix. Because the fact that Bruce went means that clearly it's okay for somebody from the company to go, according to TKO. Because if there was anything said or anything conveyed, Vince, to anybody at that level, that it wasn't okay to interact with Vince McMahon, Bruce probably would not have gone.
Yeah. And think about the look of this too, Coach, to people that aren't as close to this as we are. Look at the look of what an average person might say. If an average person is looking at this and seeing that his own daughter and son-in-law didn't go, that average person might say, well, he must be guilty then. His daughter's not going because of what he did to. So you see what I'm saying? So like, that's really a bad look unless there's zero communication between the two parties.
And I'll be honest with you, and I don't know the details of the case. I've not looked it over. I just know that that originally he was supposed to pay her $3 million. Okay. And she signed an NDA. It would have been over there. But for some inexplicable reason, he decided to play tough guy. And he's like, nah, screw her. I paid her $1 million. She's not going to get the other $2. As if the court order didn't exist, Vince. So now I'm shocked that he has not settled this thing. I'm shocked that at 80 years old, Vince, he hasn't looked himself in the mirror and said, listen, is this what I want my lasting legacy to be? Is on the outside with all the money in the world and nothing to spend it on?
See, Coach, but this all goes back to the Vince McMahon you and I know. And has he changed from his 50s to 80s, standing on principle? Because, Coach, here's why he didn't pay her. Before the Janelle Grant case, there was a smaller case where a friend of somebody who had one of these NDAs spilt the beans. This is before it got to Janelle Grant. I believe what happened there was that those beans were spilled by the friend of Janelle Grant. And I believe when that happened, Vince felt that she broke the NDA, and that's why he did not pay her the rest of the money. And to this day, he may still be standing on that principle. An NDA was signed that she broke. Therefore, he should be free and clear of everything.
So here's the deal. Even if that's true, but he has really good lawyers, because I've been there with one of them who's been there with him for 30 years. I was a star witness at one point. Even if that's the case, Vince, if he pays her the $2 million, then he has settled that regardless of whether or not the beans were spilt.
Right.
And then he could move forward without her being able to refile a lawsuit. That to me is, I don't care if the beans were spilt. I still have $6 billion to my name, and I'd like to live. And not just, he famously told me, I think I've told you on this story, I've asked him about traveling when he was worth so much money one time, because I used to fly on his jet all the time. He said, Coach, you got to have purpose. You got to have a reason to get out of bed in the morning. This is mine. That's why I go to every single show. So Vince, that always rings in my head that he told me that. Yeah. So how miserable must he be sitting at home watching his purpose sign the biggest deals in the history of their company?
Yeah, absolutely correct. Yeah.
It's driving him insane.
Yeah.
It is driving him insane.
Yeah.
We know him about as well as anybody. It's driving him insane. And those birthday parties, like that party you had over the weekend, that makes it worse. Yeah. That makes it worse. Because now he's seeing everybody that he made Cena a millionaire. He made The Undertaker a millionaire. He made all these people millionaires. And he can't enjoy it in his last decade or however much time he has left.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sad.
Yeah.
All right. I think we got one more and then we're going to get off because we all have to go. But this one, Roland Curtis says, speaking of Howard Stern, on that show in 2000 where McMahon told Stern that he'll pass the company to Shane's wife, and Stephanie, Robin asked about Triple H, and McMahon laughed it off. What happened? Oh gosh, we have two more. I've never complained about super stickers ever. Never. I can't believe I just did that out loud. Mine's bad. You guys are amazing. I'm just like, it's been 90 minutes and you guys are still here. God, I love all of you. What happened was Shane famously said one time when he came back, one of the second or third time, I can't remember which one, but he said there's one too many McMahons in the kitchen. And he counts Triple H as a McMahon because he's married into the family.
Yeah.
And so when Triple H looks at it and sees the three of them, he felt like he was the one that had to leave because Triple H wasn't going to. Triple H, wrestling is his life. I don't think for Shane, he's as into it as Triple H and Stephanie.
No, and Shane has proven he could do other things and make a very, very good living. He's proven that.
1,000%. All right, last one. Sean McDermott, would it not be the biggest moment in pro wrestling history if VKM's music hits and he walks out to open Raw after Sammy's become champion? Well, that would be something.
Sean, I would end it all. I would. If Vince McMahon handed the WWE title over to Sami, it's game over for me, Coach. It's game over.
We would cancel the show on the spot. You'd come, it'd just be a black box saying to be continued. And you'd never hear from me and Vince ever again. Ever.
Oh my gosh.
And on this last note, we're going to tease it forward Thursday, live, 11 a.m. Eastern time on the Stadium, Bally Sports Live Network. Jimmy Finger says, guys, did you cover Killer Kross and his appearance at GCW with the potty mouth promos by Shotzi Blackheart and Scarlett? Jimmy, no, we didn't. But guess when we will?
Yes.
This Thursday.
I look forward to that. Yes.
Good job today, Vince.
Good job, Coach. I enjoyed it. Thank you guys very, very much. We enjoy it as always, man. Thank you.
All right. And thank you to Afterburn, our presenting sponsor for the next month. Bring all your movies over here. We'll take all of them. Kevin and his crew trusting us as we have all of our shows for the next month being presented by Afterburn. That's going to do it for us. Remember, back here live on Thursday morning for Vince Russo, Producer Man, and Dirt Sheet Dan. I am the coach. There is only one Coach and Bro Show. We'll see you later this week. Take care.